Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a 1-year review on my Old Country vertical barbecue pit. Stay tuned. All right, so before we continue, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. That's what allows me to continue bringing you this content. But I wanted to do a 1-year review on this Old Country barbecue pit. There's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons, and especially if you're gonna try to purchase one of these, I feel that it was nice to know some of these ahead of time before you make the investment. All right, to begin with, I like to start off with the negative and then end with the positive. My very first, I guess you would call it, con on this barbecue pit is the price. The starting price, depending on where you're at in the country, you can get it anywhere between $1,300 to $1,400 or higher. I ended up purchasing this one from Academy. This is a little bit of a higher end barbecue pit. If you're somebody who's just starting off, you might want to work your way up to one of these. All right, the second con for me, the second negative thing for me, is that it's very heavy. It's very hard to move around. It comes in at about 330 pounds, so you're gonna need some help moving this around, especially if you have if you're gonna set it up somewhere like I did here around the grass area. The third thing is I could not find a cover for it. It's something that is not made. Now in my pros, I also have something that helps with that, but as a cover design specifically for this barbecue pit, if you want to keep it protected from the elements, it does not have a specific cover for it. Now let's go ahead and get into the mechanics of the barbecue pit and tell you some of the things that I think might need a little bit of improvement. This damper on top, and I know it probably has to do with the stuff that gets built up, but it gets stuck. So in order for me to open and close it, and you can see where I have damages here hit. If I need to open and close it, I have to kind of like close it that way or open it this way. And you see I have damages here. I tried to get this little thing off so I can loosen it, but it's welded up here. And it's also welded down here, so that's not gonna happen. So that's one of the, I guess you would say, flaws, at least on mine, that I've noticed, is the damper kind of gets stuck. So let's go ahead and open the barbecue pit so you guys can see some of the way it looks on the inside to begin with. It has 3 grates. One of the negative things that I see on it is that the bottom grate, it loses some of its width. The first 2 are pretty wide, but this one on the bottom, it kind of loses these maybe about 1 inch or 2, which doesn't seem like a lot, but in the long run, if you're trying to smoke a lot of meats at one time, that does hamper it a little bit. The next thing, I specifically got this barbecue pit because I wanted to smoke briskets. What I noticed is that I can maybe get 2 large briskets up here and a smaller one down here. Like for me, for this size of barbecue pit, I thought I might have been able to fit more briskets in here. And my electric smoker, I'm able to fit 4, maybe up to 5. This one, I'm lucky if I'm able to fit 3 decent sized briskets in here. So especially that bottom one, to me, that really like messes up the whole spacing. Another thing is, if you know how these barbecue pits work, you're gonna feed your charcoal or your wood here, and the heat is gonna be coming from the bottom this way, right? What I notice is that especially the meats that are closer towards the bottom, the 3rd grate, these you have to be very careful with, because some of the heat does kind of transfer in here. So some of the meats, if you leave them there for the entirety of the cook, the heat is gonna be more on one side than the other, so you might have to rotate them. So even though it's insulated, it doesn't protect it completely from the heat source. Another thing, for $1,400 or higher, you would think it would come with a temperature gauge. It does not. I had to purchase that one on my own. So to me, that's just kind of like, hey, throw one in there. You know, we're spending quite a bit of money on that. And the last negative thing for me, at least for my taste, are the wheels. The wheels are super small. And this is fine if you're gonna have it like on cement or concrete. But if you're gonna have it in your backyard and you're gonna wanna move it around every once in a while, especially on the grass, it makes it a lot more difficult. to move around with very tiny wheels. So if you end up purchasing one of these, you might want to consider purchasing bigger tires for it and just replacing them, because to me it makes it very difficult to move around, especially in my environment. So enough with the bashing on what's wrong with it. Now I want to tell you what's right with it. There's a lot of things that are right with it, and I chose 10 things that I believe are very beneficial for anybody who's trying to use this as a smoker. Remember, if you like what you're hearing so far, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That kind of helps me out. It helps me continue bringing this content to you. Let's go ahead and go with some of the pros, the top 10 pros that I see from this barbecue pit. To begin with, it's insulated. So if you look at the door, that's the thickness of the door. It has a padding that keeps it in. The hopper also has the padding there, and here it also has the padding. So once you close this baby up, the only place that your I guess your heat would come out would be either your damper on top, sometimes that little drain on the bottom, and depending on your door, like my door doesn't close completely all the way, so sometimes I see a little bit of smoke coming out of here, but it's very minimal. So very well insulated. It keeps the temperature very well. Another thing, because you are using actual wood or charcoal, if you're looking for a smoker that's gonna achieve that smoke ring, this one would be the one, because you're gonna have some combustion down here. That is what actually helps you create that smoke ring. So that's another pro with this barbecue pit. A third pro here is that it's a con, but it's also a pro. It's a heavy duty construction. It does come in at 330 pounds, which means it's very heavy and very well made. It is very easy to clean as well. Spray this down, which mine needs a little bit of a cleaning, but you can spray this down, and at the very bottom it has the drain down there where everything can go, and you can get rid of all the stuff. So it's very easy to keep and maintain. So one of the superstars of this barbecue pit is also the hopper. So this is your cooking chamber right here, where the door is, basically where the door frame is. The rest of it is where your hopper is, right? So if we look in here, it has a pretty deep, I guess you would call it, hopper, where you can go ahead and add your fuel source. Now filling it up will give you a minimum of 8 hours, maybe even more, depending on the temperature that you're smoking. You might even get up to 12 to 15 to 18 hours. Personally, I've probably seen anywhere between 10 to 14 hours before I have to add more to it. It's good in a way because you don't have to be coming and adding more wood. Go inside and just chillax for a little bit, and you know that there's always going to be fuel in there. One other thing about the grates that I forgot to mention as well is they're very, as far as the easy cleanup, these are not welded on. You can pull these out, take them out and clean them individually. All right, so that goes back to how easy it is to clean. Let's pretend that you've just finished cooking. You still have half a hopper full of charcoal or wood. This helps you save some of that by this shut-off valve. It has, right now it's in the off position. You open it to let air in. You close it to close it. Once you close it, your fire will start dying down, and that saves your charcoal or your wood that you have in there. If you notice, the last cook, I closed it and it didn't burn everything that was in there. It totally killed the fire, and it saved that. Now I got lucky and I timed it pretty well, which meant that I had very little left, but if I would have had 3/4 of the hopper still left, it would have saved all of that. This does not come with a smoker, but one of the pros that I have that I was able to find is I was able to find this temperature gauge. Now typically the temperature gauges that you see online, they're usually 3-inch. I had to do some digging. I was able to find this 4-inch because the 3-inch would come out very little and it was giving me false readings. This 4-inch gives me that extra inch that I need in order to get a more accurate reading. I will have a link on the description below for this one if you're interested. It is a very good investment. The cover that you saw me taking off at the beginning of the video, That one also is not designed for this smoker, but I was able to luckily find one that kind of fits it, that still protects it. And that one I also will have a link on the description below to an Amazon link, that if you click on that, it also helps out my channel, so that way you can protect it from the elements. The last thing I have to say good about this Old Country vertical barbecue pit is not necessarily the pit itself, but what I use to manage the temperatures on the inside. I have this Signals temperature probe from Thermoworks along with the Billows fan. Now for this one, I also will have a link on the description below if you're interested. If you have one of these and you're not using this system, you don't know what you're missing. This basically turns this charcoal / wood fed barbecue pit into an electric smoker. What you end up doing is you end up connecting this fan to where the air source is coming through, and it links to this guy over here. This guy is monitoring the inside temperature of your barbecue pit. So if you set your barbecue pit at, let's say, 250 to do a smoke, that will be registering what's the temperature on the inside. If it's below 250, this fan kicks in, you know, stokes the fire a little bit, and once the temperature reaches 250 on the inside, this fan cuts off, and it doesn't let any more air go in, and that actually maintains your temperature really well. Now, ever since I started using this, I haven't stopped. So every single cook that I do on my vertically fed barbecue pit, I use this system, and that tells you a lot, because if it doesn't work, I don't use it, and I've used it religiously on this system. All right, if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. But this has been a 1 year in review of my Old Country vertically fed barbecue pit. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.